Hello, hello, and welcome everyone. Dr. Bane here with some Growing Your Grandpa. And we will get started on that right now, because I've been itching to play this game for weeks. Right now, we're starting right now. Would you like to view the tutorial regarding the basic game mechanics? Probably. This game is designed to be played with a mouse. The input required of you is based around clicking the mouse button. The right mouse button will change the cursor's image and function. Only when pointing, indicated by the extended index finger, can you, the player, interact with certain menu buttons and prompts. Please click below in the pointing mode to continue. The second cursor mode is indicated by the cursor's image featuring a hand extending all fingers. This mode concerns interacting with objects inside the world, mainly picking up an object and moving it into another position. To continue, please pick up the piece of trash on the right and place it in the trash can on the left. Remember, the right mouse button will change the cursor's mode, but when holding something, the mode cannot be changed until the cursor is not holding something. Ah, here we go. I have the trash. The trash is in the can. There will be many situations in Growing My Grandpa that will require you to pick up things, place things, grab things, or give things. Oh, I like that. Don't be afraid to experiment and keep an open mind about using your hand. Okay, please click the button below to continue. In order to expedite the cleaning process, you can use digits 1, 2, and 3 on your keyboard's number row at the top of the keyboard to reposition the trash can below. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Well done. Please click the continue button to move on, and please remember menu buttons must be clicked in the pointer mode. Oh goodness. A variety of video options. I've already done this before we started today, so I think we're good. Hovering over the small question mark in the top right provides an overlay. Okay, wonderful. This thus ends the tutorial. I hope you enjoy Growing My Grandpa. Infinite thanks to my patrons and supporters for believing in me and my work. Games. Week 1. I excused Adrienne during music class today and spoke with her about her recent string of demerits. It was our first time meeting outside of our quarterly evaluations, and I believe it went well. I can certainly understand Miss Richardson's classroom observation concerning Adrienne's emotional state. She was, of course, intensely shy when we first met. As I understand it, she is similarly withdrawn in her classroom activities and only speaks her ex when she absolutely must. Some things she simply will not do. Instead of participating in mandatory group activities, she will sit alone and accept that she will receive a demerit. Before the meeting, I read Miss Richardson's parent-teacher report, which allowed me to estimate some about Adrienne's home life. The parents are well educated and come from a prestigious background, but they lack time to properly nurture Adrienne. She is often alone, and when she is not, the parents seem to not understand the importance of warmth and affirmation when dealing with someone so young. Having two parents of this reserved and icy temperament exacts an inhibition in the child. The child's imagination is subdued, but only ostensibly, where it eventually finds its way into regular life. I surmised that I would be able to reach out to Adrienne by way of make-believe. How are you liking your new house? You've told me you used to live close by, but it still can be a big adjustment. A new room, a new school. The basement. I like that. The basement? Yeah. Well, there's lots of cool stuff. Mom and Dad sent me down there. Your mom and Dad made you go. Yeah, but there's lots of cool stuff. Well, that's why they sent me down there, though. Or not why they sent me down there. Why did they send you down there? hiding. They were fighting, shouting. I came in to help and they shouted at me. They said, "Go clean up downstairs." So I went. That sounds tough. Do they fight a lot? Well, no. Well, It's alright, Adrian. Maybe you can tell me more about the basement instead. Okay. Well, it was weird at first, the stuff down there. But cool. I found something living. Sort of. That's very interesting, Adrian. Please tell me more. By indulging her in her fantasies and stories, I was able to glean more of an understanding of Adrian's anxiety surrounding her home and parents. The symbols of Adrian's stories seem to carry their own traumatic weight, and her exploration of the basement may very well a vehicle for the conveyance of her anxiety. Whatever might come of our next meeting, whether she will engage in similar make-believe, I will set down her story here. Adrian's story begins with her delving into the basement with a trash receptacle and the goal of cleaning up. She discovered one of the walls was covered in plastic bags. She went to investigate, intent on tearing away whatever they covered. We're in the basement. Trash bag. Okay. What do I do now? Oh, right, I have a trash receptacle on screen. Upon removing the plastic trash bags from the wall, she noticed their interior lining was covered in glass. Like a window, I offered. No, she said, like a mirror. Reflecting inward towards the animal they covered. I gently asked her what exactly this animal was. Here is where the material reality of the story took a turn for the explicitly fantastic and imaginary. Upon her discovery of it, at her gaze, it grew, or extended its shaggy-haired self. Hair like the fur of a dog, I offered. No, she said. Not the fur of a dog, nor the hair on her head. It grew out towards her, the animal's hair, reaching out. It was hard, standing almost straight, like a hair in a brush. A bristle, I offered. Yes, she said. She was very afraid at first, but then very curious. I asked her what else was in the room. More things hidden away, she said. Things of Grandpa's as well. First, she found a hidden passage under the stairs. Inside were strange dolls, magic objects, naked, faceless figures. I heard these cryptic utterances and merely nodded. In order to keep the game of make-believe going, I only pressed for details where I thought necessary. The faceless dolls could be a simple metaphor for the anonymity she feels in her own home. The hidden passage, I am unsure of what to make of that. The revealing of the concealed seems to be the thematic in her fantasy. The door under the stairs is but one example. I guess I should head back. Can't really grab this thing. The darkness of the shadowy corner unnerves you. You cannot explore here without some form of light. The trash pile. Nope. Can't grab anything with my grabby hands. How about this? Once she removed the panel and found the magical hidden passage, she was very specific about what she took. She found a magic book, a magic doll, a photo of her late grandpa, and magic glue. Big doll. Oh, a slouching doll. Its material is rough and coarse. this is very interesting so far. Oh, I found some glue! And a notebook. Trash. Look at it. Eurasian steppe, shamanism, and the fusiform gyrus. An interdisciplinary study in sympathetic magic. A dissertation, Jacob Hart. I guess I'll read it. The impetus of this research was the recognition of a particular pattern in fragments of documents relating to magic and magico-religious practice. Numerous sources were drawn from commentaries on laws relating to the banning of sorcery and necromancy, compilations of folk charms relating to love spells, hagiographs of saints and their encounters with devils. The list spans many centuries and a great distance, from the Lebanon of the Khazar Khaganate to the border of the modern nation-states of Russia and Kazakhstan today. Kazakhstan, yes. From this paper trail rose a consistent account about a certain form of magic relating to the binding of demons to a sorcerer's will. A demon called the Heaven of Needles, or the Angel of Needles, was known to be kept best by shamanic keepers or wards who suffer from face blindness. Prosopagnosia. There we go. Whether by birth or through developmental causes like a stroke or head injury. It was known to be extremely effective, but terribly dangerous. So much so that it became outlawed several times and was generally a popular scapegoat relating to unexpected death. This nexus of magico-religious meaning-making, sorcery regarding human-related desires, and the history of science of neurological disorders related to the fusiform gyrus is where the subject of this dissertation will reside. I will outline further and then analyze the historical sources I mentioned previously. Then I will go into the neurology of the mystic and magico-religious experience. Goodness, I hope this isn't a whole book. After that, I will detail my ongoing correspondence with a resident of the Ural Mountain region who is an expert folklorist and keeper of traditions he claims have been passed down through his extended family for generations. Oh, that was a mouthful. I'm going to grab some glue. I guess I'll click on it. It's in my inventory. Maybe I'll find a flashlight. No? Oh no, there's still much more trash. Another note. A photo of your late grandfather. Guess I'll read it. On the reverse side of the photograph, there is more text. Good luck on your trip to the Urals. Stay warm. So I guess my family did some traveling. Always good. All clean. This space will not be dirty again until next week. Just like my own house. I interrupted to ask what she did with these magical, mysterious materials. Grow Grandpa, she explained plainly. And then without missing a beat, she continued on with her story. Feeling that this was a potent symbol, I stopped her again to ask what she meant. Somewhat puzzled, I did not understand immediately. She explained slowly. Grandpa lives in the cage in the other room. The cage behind the door. They grew people in the cage. The other side of the door. Oh, this door. A hastily written note. Oops, where do I, are these my papers? Oh, lab orientation. For the sake of university policy and the health of any future career you hope to have, you will abide by the non-disclosure contract you have signed. Do not break the anthropodic vacuum without my prior consultation and approval. Any anthropoidic forms brought into the enclosure area must not be left unattended. When not in dormancy, the sample will attempt to take arthropoid shells. Please see shell notes for more on that. Next. The sample's exposure to some of our neuronal activity is unavoidable. However, the speed at which its desirous yield is produced can be dampened by several precautions regarding libidinal and emotional urges. Libidinal. Okay. Fun fact, I believe that means sex drive? Something to do with that? Keep conversation not related to lab work to a minimum. If you begin to suspect you are developing attachments to your colleagues, contact me as soon as possible. Okay, no friends at work. Get it. Dang. Ugh, I don't know how to check my notes. Nope, that's not it. Well, I guess we're just not reading that one. Oh. Regarding growth cycles. Every time Whiskers regenerates and leaves dormancy, it is to be logged as a new propagation. The sample's bodily existence cannot be legible. In example, a part cannot be cut from the whole, so there can be only one living propagation. Propagations are to be terminated after 5 weeks. Any further development puts us at risk. Termination procedures will be posted and followed with extreme care. With all that out of the way, I want to welcome you to the project. I look forward to working with you, Dr. Hart. Let's go in. Beyond the door, in the room, the cage was hidden, concealed in another cloak of inward-facing mirrors. Probably so it can get a nice good look at itself. A hidden cage lined with mirrors. It's strange, almost poetic, the elaborate fantasy of self-reflection, concealment, captivity. I guess that's my only option. The tarp. Oh, I got it. I guess I keep grabbing and clicking. Oh, there's trash? Yes, that's trash. At the cage, excuse me. At the cage, she finally cast her spell. But it was confusing, she confided at first. She took the magic doll, the magic glue, and the photo of her grandpa, and she combined them. And she wished very hard. I can only assume in this fantasy that next wish of hers would come true. In what child's story would it not? There's a chair. I got some glue. Particular human representation, generic human figure. Let's do genetic human figure. Or, hold on. Grandpa, representation of Grandpa on the doll, glued them together. A tangible symbol of intention and desire. She put Grandpa in the cage, assuming that was part of the ritual. She was not clear on how it worked. What precise instructions she could glean from her grandfather's magic book was complicated by her reading comprehension. She wished with all her heart. And then she told me she waited a while for anything to happen. And after that time, she began to cry. I cried really hard, she said. I wanted Grandpa to be back. I wanted my parents to stop being so mean. And it hurt me. It heard me wish for Grandpa to come back, for my parents to be different. I could feel it through the walls, and it felt me through the air. I asked her what exactly she meant. She could only repeat what she said. By this time, lunch was almost over. I said goodbye to Adrienne, and she left to rejoin her class. I was left to consider our conversation. I believe the storytelling strategy I have employed was not unfruitful, but I must probe deeper if I can. Although I can be sure of nothing I interpret, the impressions I get may begin to help me get an idea of the right questions to ask. Knowledge you acquired this week has given you access to certain topics or keywords that you can discuss with Grandpa. Wish. Consider discussing this when Grandpa emerges. You've also gained the following keyword. Gel. Consider discussing this when Grandpa emerges. Week 2. I met again with Adrienne in order to address her emotional outbursts in the past few weeks. It is our second time meeting, and while it is standard practice to have multiple sessions with a troubled student, as I assemble a report for the counseling department, I could not help but think, as we sat down in my office, that Adrienne had already seemed to show a remarkable change in self-esteem and confidence. And perhaps my and Mrs. Richardson's estimations of her were as emotionally disturbed. And perhaps my and Mrs. Richardson's estimation of her as emotionally disturbed was erroneous. The paralyzing shyness and withdrawn attitude Adrienne possessed last week was not entirely diminished, but she seemed to hold herself differently. However, this only lasted as long as our conversation pertained to initial introductory pleasantries. When I began once again asking about her parents, her feelings regarding her new school, and her new home, she quickly lost what new confidence she had gathered up and withdrew again into herself. So once again, I partook in some collaborative make-believe, but this time I was aided by the fact that I had managed to do some research into Adrienne's grandfather, and I had some insight in what she might actually be finding in the basement. Now, this may be overstepping my bounds, some as a school counseling caseworker, but this is all in the service of making Adrienne comfortable and happy in this learning environment. In any case, I was able to dig up information regarding the grandfather by inquiring at the university in town. Not that I make it a habit of sleuthing, but I had a suspicion that the grandfather was a professor there, or at least some sort of researcher, due to the fact that the newly constructed laboratory on the campus I drive by every day bears his name in memorial. He was some sort of anthropologist, or linguist, or neuroscientist. I did not have time to dig that deep before the scope of his work became dizzying, and I ran up against the limits of my undergraduate education. But back to the make-believe. What is your grandpa like? Is he a smart man? Not anymore, but I'm teaching him. So he's grown a good deal then? And have you been feeding him well? Yeah, he's getting bigger, but he has a lot of room in his cage. He's still behind the bars? Yeah, well, he might be able to climb out eventually. There's this vent in the ceiling. Well, perhaps if he climbs out, I could meet him someday. Yeah, maybe. But he's not ready to leave. He can't leave or take care of himself. I have to feed him, pick up after him. Oh, so you store the food in your lunchbox? That's nice of you to share. Can almost talk. You cannot speak with him? He doesn't have a mouth. Sort of. But how do you feed him? Has a mouth on the outside, on his shell, or the stuff that is his skin. I'm a little confused. Maybe you can go through a typical day with your grandpa? Okay. I asked her to explain exactly how she goes about growing her grandpa, and Adrienne began another tale. Excuse me. According to Adrienne, in the week that had passed, much had changed in the basement. And back down we go. What's this? Oh, right, except the hairy thing that was here before is gone. What's in my lunchbox? Seek out food for Grandpa. Okay, will do. You should go see Grandpa first. Here we go. Wake Grandpa. It was scary at first, she said. The way he moved, the way the doll's skin covered him. I wanted to interject, but this somehow seemed inappropriate, but I kept listening. When I look at him, she continued. When I think about him, he grows and moves. It's like he's growing for me. So he's growing bigger now, I asked. Yes, she said. Bigger every day. Oh, that's vile. That's vile. This begins the actual growing part of growing your grandpa. Beneath the doll's burlap skin, the follicles knit together what resembles a proper person. Your grandpa. You are in charge of its cognitive development and diet until it is able to sustain itself. Currently, you are observing Grandpa. Please click the arrow button back below to a brief tutorial of your duties as caretaker. Oh boy. Let's see what I can... It's kind of hard to tell, but it looks like he's definitely standing on 2 legs. Lots of bristles in the bag, etc., etc. Oh my. Here we can see a variety of options regarding growing your grandpa. Highlighted in red are objectives related to feeding and teaching Grandpa. Important messages regarding Grandpa's recent activity will also appear here. You'll need to find it food and learning material before you can move on to the next week. Some foods will make Grandpa happy, others merely content. Some food will make Grandpa disgusted to the point of nausea. Learning materials also scattered throughout the basement. Seek out vocabulary cards intended to help teach English and basic anthropoidic concept formation. Anthropoidic concept formation, yes. The options highlighted in red are related to navigating around Grandpa's enclosure. Go to Grandpa, go to Study Corner, go to Kitchen Corner, Help, Save Game, Exit Game. The Go to Grandpa button will let you perform all actions directly related to Grandpa. Feeding, teaching, observing, etc. The Study Corner will let you go over any documents you pick up as the weeks go by. It's a good idea to learn about the work of the people who last occupied this space. Accessing the Kitchen Corner will let you search for food in the old refrigerator and prepare food for Grandpa, if need be. The Help button will replay this tutorial. The Save game will save your current progress. You can only have 1 save file at a time, so if you have saved data, you will be asked if it's okay to overwrite. The Exit Game button will take you back to the main menu. More buttons may or may not appear depending on your development of Grandpa, so watch out for them. One final note. Take care to explore the basement at your leisure. However, due to the entropic nature of clutter and trash, different weeks may allow you to find things that you had not previously discovered. Good luck. Let's go to the Kitchen Corner and find some goodies for Grandpa. Search the upper fridge. Lettuce. It looks edible. Grandpa might like this. I found some old lettuce in an old fridge. Lower fridge. A banana? A brown banana. Grandpa might like this. Prepare food. Some fruit or vegetable, unappealing item. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe I should look around the entire place before... Look over documents, examine educational posters, file cabinet. Ooh, let's see. I found some donuts. Cashews. Grandpa might like this. So, what I believe I'm going to do is thoroughly search the basement before I even go over to Grandpa. I don't want to mess anything up, you see. Nope, just an old ashtray. Ooh, piece of paper. Damn it. I'm sorry, I keep clicking the wrong button. All clean, this space will not be dirty again until next week. Filing cabinet number 2. There we go, that'll make things a little bit better. Moving the trash can to where the cleaning is actually happening. Thank you, James. What's that? Vocabulary card. Grandpa. Teach Grandpa this word to read the notes of its past educators. All clean. Cabinet number 3. Goodness, so much trash here. What's that? Oh, that's just the side of the drawer. Oh, that's trash too. Gotcha. All clean. You remove the taped down fabric to reveal the cabinet's wooden bottom. Oh, look. Paper. Notation regarding sample exoskeleton. Research participants, please take note. Each growth from a cycle does not require a shell, but you may find the sample will often try and seize onto something somewhat flexible. Somewhat flexible it can grow into, along with any desirous yield it may generate. Or else it will move from one shell to the next as it outgrows them. In the small amount of time I have spent with it in preparation, I have noticed it tends towards human form. However, we should keep a tight lid on the anthropodic seal in order to be cautious before we begin to experiment with exposing it to long-term anthropoid stimuli. So there's some reason why it doesn't... The scientists did not want Grandpa to have a human body. Cleanup procedure. To my colleagues, I don't mean to be overly severe in tone, but Dr. Hart's work is very important, and the material we're working with is potentially very dangerous. I'll be handing out a copy of this note as a reminder to everyone. I am not trying to single any particular person out. We all have our misconceptions about the nature of this project from time to time. With that out of the way, here are some things to keep in mind. 1. The act of growth must be thoroughly terminated via the correct procedures, at the very least 4 weeks after dormancy is interrupted. It doesn't matter what you've done or haven't done regarding tests or procedures or how much the anthropoidic vacuum has been disrupted. We are not ready to go beyond 4 weeks at this point. A step-by-step guide to termination has been posted by the enclosure wall. Please, please, please do not place the educational posters over this posting. 2. Do not disrupt the anthropoidic vacuum without Dr. Hart's prior consultation and approval. I'm still not sure what they're meaning by anthropoidic vacuum. Maybe the doll? Or whatever it's growing in. In case of any emergency where the vacuum is disrupted, put on your equipment and begin the lockdown procedure. Make an extensive note of when and how the breach occurred. If you find the habitat empty, page Dr. Hart immediately, but do not attempt to speak with anyone else. This thing can get very smart, I'm sure you're all aware from the stories we heard on our acquisition trip. The greatest caution should be used when dealing with a potential aggressive mimicry scenario. Please seek me out if you have any more questions. You've gained the conversation topic, Biohazard Bin. Good deal. Was that the third one? Yes. Medical imaging device. Power. Ooh. DA's notes. Nothing to do there. Educational posters. Looks like they put a poster over the rules again, like you just said not to. A set of procedures regarding disposal internment. The researcher will seal off the enclosure bars, ensuring minimal gas leakage during the later fumigating process, and then retrieve the burn barrel and place it near the enclosure. Allow at least 48 hours of time where the current growth cycle experiences no human-related stimuli. Do not enter the enclosure area nor any part of the basement. Ideally, you will not be on the grounds at all. 3. After 48 hours, 2 researchers will enter the basement wearing their assigned mirror mask, mirror apron, and powered air-purifying respirator. The researcher will then use the vent system to fumigate the enclosure area. Wait 30 minutes, and then use the fan system to ventilate the enclosure. Keep the fans running during steps 3 and 4. Step 4. Re-enter the enclosure area wearing your assigned mirror masks and apron. The organism may or may not be in complete dormancy. If it's not in full dormancy, be assured that its capacity to act against you will be greatly diminished. With your assigned powered drills, quickly remove any enclosure bars needed to access the organism. Put them aside for later reinstallation. 5. Put the organism into the burn barrel. Incinerate the organism thoroughly. Wait for any smoke to be properly cleared by the fan system. It's just that simple, isn't it? Just burning your organisms. Number 6. Turn off the fans. One researcher will retrieve the nucleus from the ash and place it in the mirror box. The other researcher will sift through the ash and place any other substantial remains in the biohazard bin in the room outside the enclosure area. Oh, there's a biohazard bin in here somewhere. The bin is locked for safety purposes. Ooh, let me write this down. No, back. No, forward, yes. I hope I have a pen on, or else this is going to be really silly. Okay. 3... pens now. Okay. 3, 2, 3, 2, 4, 5. Wonderful. The researchers will fill out a termination form and leave it for Dr. Hart. And we found something. Is there more trash here? Are you trash? Am I trash? Perhaps everything's trash here. Look over documents. Magic book. Note. In the interest of saving everybody some time, I'm going to... Tell you what, I recommend playing this game. It's really good. Save game. Game saved. Okay, we've been to the kitchen, we've been to the study corner. Explore the basement. I guess I've already been everywhere, so I guess we're going to go back. Yes. Examine the hairy thing. A cabinet. Examine. Slouching under the weight of rot and refuse. Cabinet. We are cleaning up. Honestly, I have nothing to say about that. It's just a whole lot of trash. Marbles, blueberries. Grandpa might like this. Oh, we're going to have a little closet smorgasbord for Grandpa by the time we're done. All clean. Those look like eyes. Alright, we got the cabinet. Now we're going to get the top drawer. I'm getting really good at the whole click and drag thing. Looks like a face. All clean. An account of an acquisition. Before we began, he had us all cover our faces completely. An earthenware pot was illegible. And on the inside, as we stole brief glances at it, we could see the interior was inlaid with mirrors. They gave it a small pieces of dough, spoiled food, chicken feed to keep it content. The keeper gestured towards the small bag where the food was composted and told us to be careful not to feed it any meat. I asked if the rotting food was enough to sustain it, how it might get nutrients from any of this. The keeper regarded me seriously and said it did not matter what it was fed. The act of feeding itself was what mattered. The act of feeding flesh is another act. He then gave me another series of grave warnings regarding not keeping any animal-derived foods near where I might be keeping it. So it can't eat meat. Oh, what's this? It's some kind of lock. Very interesting. Safety. 1951. Good year. Do I have... Oh my. Okay, anyway. Back to the trash pile. Examine. The waste here smells particularly strong. Grab. Wonder if I'll... Ooh, another doll. A simple paper doll. This might be useful in the construction of magic symbols. I'm going to make sure that everything is located. We can't miss anything. All clean. Good to hear. Alright, we've... What is that over there? What's that? Bulbous growth. Something appears to be growing from the wall. You take a closer look. Oh, lovely. A pulsating sac. The slimy membrane that is its skin seems to contain something. It might be able to be opened with a blade. Okay. I'll keep an eye out for something sharp. Honestly, this is a therapeutic experience more than a horrifying experience. Hello. We can teach Grandpa how to say hello. That'll help him out in so many day-to-day situations. Setting. Corroded battery. This isn't really good. Grandpa might eat it, however. Oh, I know exactly what we're going to do with that battery. We're going to feed it to him. The darkness of the shadowy corner unnerves you. Okay, still dark over there. Let's go check on Grandpa. Actually, we need to make his food. We're going to use a banana and stick a battery in it. The battery is concealed in the browning banana flash. Wonderful. And we've already done everything here. Save the game. Yes. Back. Back to Grandpa. Come on. Go to Grandpa. Teach Grandpa. Oh my. Fascinating. Truly fascinating. Grandpa, would you like to view the tutorial? You will not be prompted again. This brief tutorial will go over teaching Grandpa pronunciation and vocalization. The vocabulary word you picked will appear in the top right corner. In the bottom right... Excuse me. In the bottom right corner will be a pentagon that is divided up into 8 sections. A section of the pentagon will be highlighted briefly. A notification sound will play, and soon another section will be highlighted. You will control a small round icon that sits above the pentagon by using your mouse. The ball is constrained to the limits of the pentagon. The goal is to keep your icon over the highlighted area and move it as the area changes sections around the pentagon. When you hold left click above the correct highlighted area, the icon will start to vibrate, along with the simulated vocal cords, and the current letter of your word will begin to turn red. Left-click vibration. Keep holding over the highlighted section and adjust your icon as it changes place. Soon, the letter will become fully red. After every letter becomes red, Grandpa will proudly pronounce the word to you, and it will be considered learned. Teaching Grandpa these words will accelerate its cognitive development and lead to further breakthroughs in general intelligence. Teach word, Grandpa? Yes. You approve. Oh, that's disturbing. Oh, this is difficult. This is actually difficult. Come on, Grandpa, use your vocal cords. This is taking a lot of focus, and I really do enjoy the undulation of the vocal cords. We got 3 letters. I don't enjoy the flap, however. Goodness. This one's a real risk breaker. My goodness. This is how children learn to speak, right? Deep within Grandpa, strange membrane. He said Grandpa! Having completed the lesson, you take a look back at the vocabulary module card, and the notes were written by administrators of the past. Grandpa, Port of Vocabulary and Vocalization Module 81. Family. General pronunciation comments. Usual trouble with articulation. Voice thin, raspy, possibly underdeveloped larynx. Module comments. We have done several sessions of what we are calling familial relation simulation. I and a co-researcher sit in chairs opposite the enclosure. We are wearing the usual masks, and we begin to act out a scene, mostly through improv that might roughly resemble a kitchen table conversation between an immediate family. Repeated trials would reveal, although our simulated conversations were purposely vague and unspecific regarding persons and identities, we would only address each other as brother, father, sister, etc., etc. It soon became apparent that the encoded information and associations we unconsciously drawn upon when hearing and speaking these words was being picked up on by Whiskers in its psi-type field of reception interpretation of brain-mind event semantic content. My co-researcher, William, noticed this in a simulation where Whiskers was given a role as a sister and he as a brother. I was the father. Whiskers began responding to certain prompts. Hello, Dubby, welcome to the stream. Good to see you. Let's see. Certain prompts with unusual specificity, wow, as well as a general pattern and timbre of speech that continued with the usual consistency. As soon as the simulation ended, we left the enclosure area. William let me know that Whiskers was almost certainly drawing from encoded memories of his late sister. Mapping out exactly what regions and centers of neural activity are intercepted by the psi-type field will take extensive neuroimaging that we do not have at this site. Currently, we only have less precise, portable equipment. However, our experiences so far are eerily in line with folk knowledge and folk explanations regarding the being's access to desires, and we can begin to infer it has access to certain portions of the limbic system and the ventral temporal cortex. So it's psychic. You step away from the bars and store the module card at the document table. Let's go to Grandpa and teach him more words. This time I'm clearing off my mouse pad. Still had the pen and paper there from earlier. Would you like to view the tutorial before you start? This brief tutorial will go over the basics of feeding Grandpa via induction of your unprotected insula. What? Grandpa has simulated the production of tooth enamel to mimic a human mouth. It will need to be fed through this in order to properly learn and grow. First, you will need to select an item from the lunchbox. Click on the lunchbox on the bottom right. The contents of the lunchbox will be displayed. Nice food and bad food. Select an item from the lunchbox. Doing so will fill your hand with this item. Note that any food that can be put back into the lunchbox by clicking on the lunchbox with a full hand. Yes, like real life. Before Grandpa can be fed, it must judge the food by smell. Hover your hand above Grandpa's olfactory bulbs. If Grandpa is pleased, it will allow you to feed it. Most foods Grandpa will accept. However, getting Grandpa to consume other things requires some culinary deception. When Grandpa is willing to be fed, hover your hand over its mouth and click. Grandpa will then consume the food. Good luck on feeding Grandpa. Okay, well, let's feed Grandpa then. He deserves it after learning his own name. Oh my goodness. Grandpa is enticed by the smell. Click on Grandpa's mouth to feed it. A concealed battery. Click on Grandpa's nostrils left of its mouth. Grandpa is unable to detect the unappealing item. Although quickly consumed, the meal seems to be causing some indigestion. And with a sudden lurch, Grandpa empties its stomach onto the floor. The contents pool together in front of the cage. Alright, well, I guess we'll check on that in a second. We're going to give you the actual good stuff now. Grandpa finds this palatable. Good boy, Grandpa. The meal appears to have been sufficient. Yes, you must be hungry after learning and throwing up on the floor. Grandpa seems indifferent to the smell. The meal appears to have been sufficient. Lettuce. Oh, he doesn't want the lettuce. Well then. You step away from the window and set in the bar, and Grandpa silently slides back to its corner. I fed it 2 digestible items and 1 battery. Good for me. Save game. When you're low on actual food, be sure to hide the nasty stuff. Teach Grandpa. We have the card at hello. You approach the small window. Oh, jeebus. I'm catching on to this whole thing now. Come on, Grandpa, we've practiced this. Deep within Grandpa, a strange membrane's phonate. That didn't sound like hello. Having completed the lesson, you take a look at the back of the card. Module A2, Conversational Basics. General pronunciation comments, sloppy articulation. We are already encountering some difficulty as Whisker's subjectivity is so much determined by a diverse and dynamic array of influences. It attempts to mimic the thoughts and desires it passively intercepts, and these imitations go on to structure the basis of its identity. Only later in Whisker's growth cycle does it begin to form an identity, or identities, that are coherent and capable of resembling a sane, rational human being when engaged in conversation. One must imagine how hard it would be to converse with someone who is not yet orientated in one particular way towards who or how they are, because they might have 20 different honest answers to those questions, all of them mixed and muddled together. Because of this, we are starting with the basics of conversation. Readings, partings, identifying one another, forming questions, etc., etc. It is fortunate Whisker's current growth, number 19, I believe, has developed a mostly accurate human mouth simulation. Hello was a bit of a challenge in the previous growth, as it had failed to develop an adequate organ to act as a human tongue. So he grows different organs at different times through different generations. Teach Grandpa 2 words. Grandpa recently emptied its stomach. Go to Grandpa. Examine the stomach contents. Oh, he threw up a key! Wonderful. Observe. You examine Grandpa, noting its movements, respiration, and general mood. Grandpa appears content and ready to cooperate. That's good. Is there anything else down there? I think I might have missed something. No, okay, wonderful. Feed Grandpa. Goodness, that is disgusting. Okay, the lettuce is mediocre. It dejectedly locomotes back to its favorite corner. Okay, well, I'm sorry. No, wait. I think it was in here that we used the key. Study corner, file cabinet 3, no. Medical imaging device. Can't really use that yet. Okay, good. It turns itself off. Examine. Nope. Look over. No. One of these things had a locker. I actually think it was outside. Save game. Save game. Thank you. Alright, it was the cabinet. Yes, the cabinet. Bottom drawer. You try the safe's lock with the key you found, and it pops open. What's this? A photo of your mother as a young woman. The recognition of this face kicks off a cascade of emotion and meaning deep within your psyche. I guess I don't need anything else from here. Okay then. Let's go see if Grandpa has picked up on our psychic waves. Save game. Oh, yes. Go to Grandpa. Attempt to communicate. Grandpa accedes to your request. It approaches the bars and begins to unknit its skin. The inner Grandpa, though not still fully formed, is revealed. It may be fruitful to speak with it, if it can respond. Oh my goodness. Ask about Grandpa's shell. Goodness. With a great deal of effort, Grandpa gurgles fragmented thoughts through its ill-formed lips. Skin. My body. All human skin around me. Give more. Grow more. To fit. Oh, he's tiny. I see. Ask about wish. With a great deal of effort, he gurgles fragmented blah 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 blah. Mother will father new lives out of the air. The dark, spiny filaments that make up the majority of Grandpa's body begin to oscillate rapidly. The air behind your eyes, I can taste it. Oh. Ask about the biohazard bin. However, it fails to produce more than a wet, frustrated, sputtering noise. Well, I guess we'll learn more about that later. Grandpa silently ascends back to his shell. Very interesting. I have no new tutorial cards. I guess he already knows about the biohazard bin. Save game. And week. Weekly summary. Lettuce, banana, cashews, blueberries, battery, and I concealed the battery in the banana. We got a lot of good stuff. Knowledge you acquired this week has given you access to a new conversation topic to discuss with Grandpa. Language. Consider discussing this when Grandpa emerges. Week 3. Miss Richards approached me the other day in order to remark on Adrian's development. She noted how much more at ease she appeared when called upon in class or when asked to participate in group exercises. I told her that I had seen this change happening as well, and that, as much as I would like to take credit for it, I can only guess dimly at what might be reshaping her attitude. Had to have a drink of water. Miss Richards posited that it was perhaps Adrian's family moving into their grandfather's property that caused the change. It apparently is out in the country, in a wooded area, full of wide open space and far from the bustle and noise of the city. The grandfather, Dr. Jacob Hart, had jointly purchased the land with the university he was employed with and began constructing what he was intending to be a satellite campus for a burgeoning psychological anthropology program that he had had a hand in establishing. So Grandpa was the doctor that was in charge of the organism that we are now feeding and calling Grandpa. Only one building ever ended up being constructed after Dr. Hart died in a car accident when driving back from the property one day. Eerily, at almost the exact same time, a grad student who was assisting Dr. Hart on some sort of project at the property vanished without a trace. The property sat in disuse for years. It was tied up in legal battles between Dr. Hart's next of kin, the university, the vanished grad student's family, and the other students Dr. Hart was working with. Interesting. Eventually, the case was settled out of court. Of course it was. Only recently did the property fall into the possession of Adrian's mother. Obviously, I was not going to relay this whole tragic story to Adrienne, for all I know believes her grandpa to still be living in the basement of his home. Besides, I thought, she might already know all of this. Perhaps the elaborate story she was constructing was her own way of escaping the morbid details of a life, or perhaps lives, cut short by the cruel force of fate and the cynical adults who squabbled in the aftermath. I determined perhaps the storytelling she was... That doesn't make sense to me. And continues to engage in... Okay. Should not be encouraged by me, at least not in the way I went about it before, where I made active inquiries into her strange fantasy of a semi-sentient ball of skin. When I saw Adrienne, I did not bring up her grandpa or ask questions about his growth. Adrienne could not stop talking about it, however. I had no choice but to weather her bizarre and enthusiastic effusions about her new best friend. Adrienne, maybe we can talk about something else? I'm not sure I'm following you exactly. He's gotten so big. He has so many whiskers that come out and I can see them move around when I think about him. I'm not sure what you mean. I'm so happy Grandpa's back. He's so much cooler than Mom and Dad. Once again, for what it's worth, I have put down the story she told me as best as I could. Adrienne once again told me about growing her grandpa. Back to the basement. Time to do our task. Trash pile. Search the painting. Oh, secret paper. A folder full of radiographic images. You can examine these in detail later at the study corner. I'm just gonna run my hands all over this. Okay, anyway. Search trash pile. I found something. Fiberglass insulation. This isn't really food. Grandpa might eat it, however. Because I'm going to hide it, and Grandpa's going to eat it, like the Play-Doh cookies. Linguistics module, life. Teach this word to Grandpa and read the notes of its past educators. Apparently, Grandpa, in a past life before he was crisped in an oven, was known as Mr. Whiskers. Potato. We could put the fiberglass in the potato. Because apparently, Grandpa's stomach is like a treasure chest. We just gotta know how to unlock it. Cabinet. Yes, cleaning. Cleaning until we find something interesting, like doctor's notes or a used needle. What is that? That looks important. Okay, guess there's nothing. Top drawer. Goodness. For a place where my parents don't go, this gets filled up with trash very fast. I feel like Grandpa's playing sick jokes here, yes. Not on me, because that'd be weird. None of this is needed to go through, apparently. Just going to make sure that I'm not missing anything. Good. Let's see here. Still nothing. The bulbous growth. It seems like it could be opened with a sharp edge. I don't have any knives. What's that? A kiwi that has spontaneously appeared in my basement. Just keep on picking up trash until the job is done. Like Doomslayer, but with rumpled up pieces of paper. Another trash pile. Or is this... No, this is a different trash pile. I guess there's 2 bulbous growths in the basement now. You know, I should probably pick that up. Indecision. That's going to be a pain. But whatever it takes to educate my grandpa. He's from a different time, you see. Yet another pulsating sac grows in this corner of the basement. If I had something sharp, I could pop it open. Cabinet, trash pile. Have I done this one? Yes. It's still too dark. I need a flashlight or something. Go to the door, go inside. Hello, Grandpa! Save game, yes. So we'll go to the study corner. Nothing here. Of course, there's more trash in the cabinet that I cleaned last week, because... Yes. That looks like dried doo-doo. Just saying. Nothing in the cabinet this time. Not shocked. So if you click and drag, it goes by a lot faster. It's all about upgrades, people. Did I? I guess I did. Medical imaging device. You slip the radiographic images you found onto the machine's display. Oh my goodness. Propagation number 21. Day 1 after dormancy. Interesting. Vacuum broken. Yes. Notes in detail. Intriguing results with regard to the mimic hypothesis. A participant entered a sealed chamber adjacent to Whiskers, which had been freed from the anthropoidic vacuum. Constructed quite economically from plastic and broken mirrors, the first propagation's original earthenware vacuum was shattered during the move-in. Between the two, there was a semi-opaque glass panel that allowed observation both ways. The human participant was asked to think of someone in the popular consciousness, fictional or no, and cogitate on their image, or think about their image, personality, face, if possible, voice, if possible, etc. Our participants chose Jesus of Nazareth, and with weekly repeated exposures to the participants' imaginings, propagation number 21 began forming what resembled an anthropoid Nazarene in the fold of its spines. Previous human-oriented tests have always bore out a result that Whiskers would form an anthropoid team member, be it me or Dr. Hart or Gerald, and we assumed that it was merely mimicking one of us. Dr. Hart has always contended the desirous yield, or the anthropoid reproduction Whiskers creates when in contact with human beings, IC, has always been based on the conception and relation to the person through someone else. So, desirous yield is the psychic link that this creature makes with the person on the other side of the bars. With this framework, the desirous yield is not actually a replica of a person. Or if it is only a replica of the fiction of a person generated in the mind of another. This desirous yield was not Jesus Christ, but the participant's image of Jesus, assembled from their religious upbringing, religious artwork, and depictions of popular culture, etc. This radiograph was taken right before the destruction of the growth cycle while Whiskers was rendered unconscious via fumigation. It seems like with every successive propagation, the stem cells in the organism work a little faster. But I'm not paranoid. It's technically deathless, yes, but we're burning up whatever knowledge it's gained when we incinerate it. I don't believe in magic just yet. Oh goodness, propagation number 2, number 21 became Jesus. Propagation number 14. Number 10, vacuum broken. Vacuum broken. No, okay. Vacuum wasn't broken. We have taken to calling it Whiskers, though of course some have interpreted it as hair or needles or quills. But Whiskers is more accurate, as the needles are really more like suprasensory follicles in spine. And I will go ahead and just skip through this very quickly to save some time here. If you're watching the VOD later, then you can pause, of course. Exposure to mammalian forms. Hold on. Part of a series of zoomorphic influences led to further understanding of the propagation's ability to simulate the somatic stem cells that constitute fully developed animals. Now, for those of you who are lost up until this point, this thing gets thrown into a fire barrel every time it's created. And that each one that grows up is called a propagation. So, now that you're up to speed, I write simulant in the previous statement because examining the tissue of each propagation leads me to believe its amazing capacity for accelerated growth of vastly different forms comes from its cell level mutability. And yet at no time does it function as the thing it becomes except in the sense that it mimics it. That is to say, when Whiskers is removed from dormancy and replicates a rabbit's morphology, it is not seeing from the rabbit's eyes nor smelling from the rabbit's nose, but pretending that it does and doing a very good job of it. The radiograph was taken at around growth cycle number 4. The strange thing was that it was the subject of the image. The strange thing was that the subject of the image was found nowhere near the enclosure. It's almost like a piece of Whiskers fell off and scurried into the corner. I feel like we learned a lot since, but at the time I remember speaking about the morphology being weird, not even really resembling any extant zoomorphic structure besides maybe a cuttlefish. Then I happened to open the thing up. Inside were all these little dead amoeba-like things, but they all sort of looked like they had faces. Faces that were just barely there. After I took the radiograph, I gathered it up and went to go through it in the biohazard bin. As I walked by the bars of the enclosure, I could hear Whiskers suddenly going wild, flopping around and grunting excitedly. Could it have smelled the cuttlefish thing? Would it eat its own production? I guess it's technically flesh. This is beyond the scope of the project, but it could be that without the stimulus of an active brain, or more specifically, a healthy and active brain capable of face recognition and theory of mind, Whiskers begins to pull whatever it can from the limited data available to it. Again, this is not our focus at this time, but I left a note for Dr. Hart just in case he wanted to take a look. So they let propagation number 21 become a full-scale human. I like how the music cuts out. Okay, enough of that. Save game. I don't want to read all that again. Going to the kitchen, search upper fridge. A pear. Lower fridge. I found a strawberry. Prepare food. A pear. Hide the fiberglass insulation inside the pear. Okay, good. We're going to feed Grandpa some fiberglass. Do we still have the lettuce from last week? Yes, we do. Oh, let me see if I could actually... Well, he doesn't want to eat the lettuce. I will make Grandpa eat the lettuce. Study corner. I already did everything, right? Yes, I did. There's a distinct lack of cards today. Alright, let's go to Grandpa. How's Grandpa doing today? You examine Grandpa, noticing its movements, respiration, blah blah blah. Grandpa's gums are bleeding slightly, and its skin seems overly dry. It may need a food packed with vitamin C. A kiwi fruit would be an excellent remedy. Well, before you get food, you get a lesson. That's how it rolls here in the Dr. Bane lab. Let's do the hard one first. Okay, Grandpa, get ready to vocalize. D, C, You're getting it, Grandpa. You're getting it. Let's go. I'll get you some feet. Oh! That was very good, Grandpa. Let's take a look at the back of the card. Vocalization Module F23. Theory of Mind. General pronunciation. Comments. Articulation problems. Possible trouble with diphthongs. We are introducing the latest growth of Whiskers to more subtle social cues and testing its ability to judge mental states of participants in conversation. The semantic content that flows to Whiskers via its psi field is still becoming muddled and slipped without distinction into conversation, although our intention of instilling in it a solid theory of mind will perhaps make it begin to understand what we do not know what it knows, or know what we are without our control sending to it. How big is Grandpa? I'd say he's about... His skin is about 5'8", it looks like. He stands up in a cell pretty well. The average chair is about 2 feet off the ground, so maybe he's 6 feet tall. Yes, but he needs vitamin C. So we're going to give him a kiwi first. Does it smell good? Good. The meal appears to have been sufficient. Alright, now we're going to feed you the nasty thing. Concealed insulation. Good. Indigestion. Grandpa empties its stomach onto the floor. The contents are deposited into the pool of Grandpa's previous stomach explosion. Good. So kind of you to throw up in the exact same spot twice, Grandpa. There you go. Potato? Maybe I should have glued the lettuce to something. I don't think that's an option, though. Lettuce. Is too full to consume. Oh, you have to feed that to him first. I see. One other. Yes, I fed him insulation. And I'll do it again. Save game, yes. And we teach him another word. No, we're not going to the study corner. We're going to Grandpa. He misses us already. Observe. You examine Grandpa, noting its movements, respiration, and general mood. It appears content and ready to cooperate. Good, he's not bleeding from his gums anymore. God, I hate it when I bleed from my gums. Typical skeleton problem, yes. Teach Grandpa, yes. I got a little lost in thought there, thinking about bleeding gums. Have I said that enough? Bleeding gums? Sorry, Grandpa, I'm a little distracted. He's getting smarter. Life. Having completed the lesson, you take a look at the card. Vocalization Module, Part 29. Concept Formation. At week 3 of growth number 24, Whiskers appeared to recall some information from a previous growth cycle. We cannot be sure that this was really the case. For all we know, what we interpreted as it recollecting this information was really it drawing semantic content from one of our recollections of it, and redeploying it without rationality or contextualization. Basically, it's taking the thoughts from the researchers about its past selves, because the researchers were there in the past carnations, and just jabbering back at it. Or back at them, yeah. For the sake of our safety and the sake of our scientific inquiry, we are attempting to draw out from Whiskers whether it somehow retains knowledge from previous cycles in its morpholytic nucleus. We did not think it was possible the nucleus, though complex and incredible in its regenerative abilities, was capable of this, and that the nerve network that grew from it made up the base of Whiskers' mind. And so we are now attempting to ask Whiskers, as best we can, if it has ever died, or what it might remember if it did. Step away from the bars and store the module card at the document table. Let's go to Grandpa and try to have a conversation. Perhaps he can tell us how to get into that bio bin, or that dark corner. It accedes to my request. It approaches the bars and begins to unknit its skin. Oh, he's gotten bigger! I think. Oh my goodness! He's getting cuter! Oh, he's so adorable. Grandpa still struggles somewhat to speak due to its underdeveloped tongue, mouth, and jaw. However, it manages to rasp out an answer. Hunger is not enough. On the walls of a cave, the Auroch can be hunger transformed, desires fulfilled by pain. Your grandpa doesn't have the right words. Right now, I can only say, I love you. Love is not enough, though. Desire is not enough. Project it outwards. Make it true to yourself. If only in symbol, then it will be enough. For me and for you. That is precious. Ask about Grandpa's shell. Grandpa still struggles. Something to grow in. My skin is not the doll's skin. My skin is not like your skin either. I can still feel your eyes on me inside. My shell. I have many eyes to see, but I don't need them as much as I need your eyes with which I can understand seeing me. There is a cycle of attention. You give me myself, but I'm still not that. Slowly, I form a human shape, and you can see me more as human, and I become that. The biohazard bin still struggles to speak. They kept putting me in a box, sleeping, and then satellite. And then in a box in the corner, in the darkness. Most of you couldn't read then. A scribe came and wrote what everyone said. They wrote on strips of bark with thin reeds. No, it was not that. It was a paper posted somewhere. It had words to open the box. I was only half dead in the box. The part of me that dies was put there for a long time. That part of me and other things they threw in. A refuse pile. Papers they discarded. So we should probably go back outside and look at the refuse bins one more time just to make sure. Ask about language. Grandpa is old. My lives were easier before I made myself to speak and before you made clothes to wear and rules to obey. Your grandpa remembered. I have learned much in many lives and deaths. Keep speaking with me. I love talking with you and learning from you. And it helps your grandpa so much. Soon I will be everything you would like me to be. Oh. Goodbye. Grandpa silently ascends back into its shell. What a good boy. Examine the stomach. Oh, we got our sharp edge. This is the part where most people say, let's go! Let's go cut open some bulbous orbs. Save our game first. Oh, I'm so excited. I haven't been this excited since the last lobotomy I've performed. Nothing here, nothing here, nothing here. Always just gotta make sure. Trash pile. Clean. Look over at this trash pile again. Clean, there's nothing there. Trash. Bulbous growth. You carefully make an incision into the growth with your scissors. It's now possible to take a look inside. Let's look inside. You peer into the small opening created by your incision. In the oily cavity, a powerful smell of rot arises, and many small, increate beings lay motionless and dead. However, you just barely hear the near-silent slithering of something. Maybe it is just your imagination. Well, we gotta throw this stuff away. None of this looks even remotely edible for Grandpa. Unless we do find a little sliver or something for Grandpa to snack on. I think that looks like a phase. Doesn't that look like a phase? Pretty sure it's a phase. Is this what it's like when people pick their nose? My. An anthropoid remnant. A self-sufficient animal form knit together from years of ambient thoughts, left to crawl around in the basement. Grandpa may enjoy the flesh. I think he will. Little friends. Consider discussing this when Grandpa emerges. Bulbous growth, here I come. Here I come again. Cleaning up Grandpa's bulbous orbs. Don't take that out of context. It's really good. Got that good goop sound. This is a really good ASMR game. Oh my goodness. That's disconcerting. That's okay. Grandpa will like it. It's like sushi, but it has a face. I think I rechecked all the trash piles and I can't go back here yet. Save game, yes. Go to Grandpa. We're going to feed Grandpa some treats today. Alright. Anthropoid 1. Excited by the flesh smell. Ooh, you're excited? Are you being a good boy today? Are you being a good boy? The meal appears to have been particularly well received. Your offering of flesh stirs something within Grandpa. From within the folds of its body, a wiry, proboscis-like appendage begins to emerge. It may well be worth taking a look after the feeding. Knowledge you have recently acquired has given you access to a new conversation topic. Proboscis. Yes, I would definitely ask Grandpa about that new proboscis. Grandpa's flesh has been sated for this week. Okay. I guess we'll keep this anthropoid in our lunch bag. Grandpa's happy. I fed him his favorite food. And his favorite food is the tiny soul. Grandpa appears content. I already checked the contents, yes? Yes. Let's communicate, Grandpa. Goodness. Ask about little friends. The little ones, they grew like seeds off of my skin. Worms fall off my body. Thoughts falling off of me. Dreams put there by others. When I was under the ground, I made only very few. Shepherds walked through the grave, and I saw them lusting for their wives, and my skin made their loving faces. I called them out into the darkness with their loved voices. One by one, I took their shapes, and their skin and blood. That was a long time ago, before stone buildings, before the orders of angels and words and symbols. I'm sorry, Grandpa is thinking. There's a little left over from others, too. I'm still so hungry for flesh. Part of me is, I would even eat one of them that fell off of me. I can't help it. They grow off of me. They fall off and grow in the dark, grow around me. Let's ask about your proboscis. Sounds wonderful. Yes, that is a part like a tongue. I was lost in the mountains and so thirsty. I was walking up a hill and found a lamb and drank from it with my tongue. And I fell asleep for a long time. I woke up as a half-formed child. I had died before. My grieving mother had remade me. We had made a contract and she completed it. I do not remember more. Okay, goodbye, Grandpa. Goodbye, Grandpa. Let's see here. Oh, examine proboscis. You motion to Grandpa to approach and point to the thin protuberance. Grandpa silently ambles closer to the bars and fully extends it towards you. The minuscule needle extends from its tip. There appears to be one thing you must give, if only for the sake of propriety. Is it blood? Do I glue it? Paper doll, glue together. Interesting. A tangible symbol of intention and desire. Do I give that to you? Nope, it did indeed want my blood. Grandpa has appreciated your blood offering. It will receive a symbol or totem from you now, although only one per offering. As the blood-fed proboscis retracts back into the folds of fabric, you step away from the bars. We're going to Grandpa. We're going to offer the mother doll. You approach the bars and hold out the mother symbol you created. Grandpa's spines quickly reach out and envelop the doll before drawing back. The doll quickly vanishes within the folds of Grandpa's skin. Constructing and then offering your mother's image to Grandpa, symbolically sated by blood, instills in you a concrete sense of completion. Grandpa gives a soft, affirming grunt as it senses deep within your mind the ritual transformation of your desire. Although Grandpa must receive both a mother and father totem before the fulfillment of your wish is assured. The mission is to get him a dad doll. Wonderful. Save the game, yes. And then we're going to... I believe we've done everything. 4 out of 3, yes. We've even overfed him this week. Oh shoot, I'm sorry. We've fed him fiberglass insulation, potato, kiwi, pear, strawberry, and an anthropoid. We've got the radiographs, vocabulary cards, and we made a mom doll. And then we gave it to him. 4. The time I have to spend compiling an evaluation on Adrienne is almost up, and I still can't say what to make of her changes in mood. It is, of course, the case that children of Adrienne's age are nowhere near finished learning and growing. I may have to simply be happy that Adrienne was able to improve her attitude. However, something in the odd and occasionally grotesque stories she continues to bring up still strike me as meaningful. How has your week been, Adrienne? Grandpa's almost ready. He's almost finished. Well, sort of. He's almost as big as his shell now. He has a face, and he can talk pretty well, and almost has legs. I see. As before, I have put down the story she told me as best as I could. Once again, Adrienne told me about growing her grandpa. Back in the underground. Okay, bulbous growth. Oily cavity, the smell of rot. Oh, I get to clean again! Wonderful! I just pick up all these dead little critters and put them in the trash can. I'm just going to let you guys enjoy the sounds this is making. No, there is nothing in here. Surprising. Trash pile. Now we're going to clean up boring garbage. Is that a fingernail? A bar of soap. Okay, that's fair. Fair and valid. Well, Grandpa might need to wash up his intestine. Still too dark over there. That's probably where the bio bag is. Okay, I don't think that will change. Examine the cabinet. There is trash in the cabinet. I am not letting one secret slip by me. What's this? Meaning. A new word to teach Grandpa. All clean. This space will not be dirty again until next week. on. This is like body horror maid simulator. And I'm living for it. Isn't that a picture of my father, though? Why can I grab it? Oh well. Bulbous growth. Let's take a look inside. See if we can find some goodies in here. Oh, we found a goodie! A self-sufficient animal form knit together from years of ambient thoughts. Wonderful. Oh, that looks like eyes. Oh, I can't wait to make a montage of me picking up wet, gooey things. Oh, am I not done? Hello. There it is. Alright, and I did the bottom drawer, I did the top drawer, I did the cabinet. Nothing new there. Good. Go to the trash pile, search the painting. I guess there's only so much that you can hide in a painting. Search the trash pile. Ooh, what's that? A potato chip? Flatbread. It looks edible. Grandpa might like this. So I believe we gotta feed him the lettuce first, or else he will just not eat it. I've already been in here, right? No, I haven't been in this bulbous grove. I guess that means there's 3 down here now. Got to feed our 6-foot-tall grandpa his own offspring. Because, you know, these things come off of him. All clean, nothing squirming around. I got the trash? No, I didn't. There's always more trash to clean. Secrets to be found amongst the refuse. What's this? A mushroom. I love mushrooms. Symbol. A new card for words to teach Grandpa. Okay. I believe we've been here, all clean, yes, and that's the dark corner. Okay, we have not missed anything yet. Hello, Grandpa! I'm going to screw around in here for a minute. Study corner, cabinet 1. Gotta make sure Grandpa only has the cleanest living quarters. Yeah, come on. There we go. Cabinet 2. Okay, no secrets there. Cabinet 3, 2, 1. Posters. Okay, nothing there. Medical imaging device. It's all the same. We're going to the kitchen. Search the upper fridge. What's this? Grandpa would love an apple. Now that he's growing his big boy teeth. A jackfruit! And I got an achievement! On the Gorman grind. Yes. Prepare food. The unappealing item, bar soap. Stick it into the apple. Wonderful. Now, feed him the lettuce first. Oh, Grandpa's looking a little bit less disgusting. Grandpa seems fatigued and almost anemic. Some of its spines appear brittle. Perhaps it would be more cooperative if fed an iron-rich meal like meat. Oh, we've got plenty of meat for you, Grandpa. but before you get your num-nums, you need to learn your languages. And by languages, I mean English. Good boy, good boy, good grandpa. Close enough. Let's look at your vocabulary card. Vocalization Module J11. Metacognition/higher thought. We further delve into abstraction with Whiskers, partially, or perhaps for the most part, for the purpose of determining the origin of its recollections that precede its death. Dr. Hart has begun to theorize that in the process of death, the structure of Whiskers is compressed back into the more phylatic nucleus, and then later, upon re-establishing the nerve netting that is laced throughout its spines, is slowly reassembled and redeployed as needed. I do not think this is the case, for I can plainly see that for growth cycles in which Whiskers is not receiving our pronunciation and vocabulary lessons, that its capacity general for comprehending its environment is greatly diminished. And in the simulated conversations we carry out, Whiskers struggles greatly, or does not participate. In any case, we will press on with our lessons and heed Dr. Hart's caution regarding the terminating the growth cycle before Whiskers' allotted growth time passes. Oh, wait. Whiskers' allotted growth time passes. Okay. Because, at the beginning it said, we're not supposed to grow this thing for more than 4 weeks. And since this is my grandpa, we're clearly not going to burn him. So we'll see what happens. Step away from the bars. Go to Grandpa. Oh, my Grandpa, you are standing tall. Okay, I suppose you've earned yourself a treat, Grandpa. Let's see. Give you the lettuce first. Yes, your 4-week-old lettuce, because you wouldn't eat it any other time. Here you go, Grandpa. The meal seems to be causing some indigestion. And with a sudden lurch, Grandpa empties its stomach onto the floor. The contents are deposited into the pool of Grandpa's previous stomach expulsion. That's why we love Grandpa. He's very considerate. He pukes in the same place twice, so we don't have to go looking for it. Oh yes, he's excited by the flesh. The meal appears to have been particularly well received. Your offering of flesh stirs something within Grandpa. From within the folds of its body, a wireless proboscis-like appendage begins to emerge. It may be worth taking a look at this after the feeding. I really hope I didn't miss anything. No, we need to keep this grub. 1 grub per week. Mushroom. Here you go, Grandpa, eat the mushroom. I feel like feeding him meat is the only way to get his proboscis out. Now, I know that sounds wrong, but that's what we have to do. We have to save this grub for next week. How you like jackfruit? Okay. Flatbread? Okay, you're too full. I get it, I get it. Not everyone likes flatbread. Grandpa silently slides back to its corner. Wonderful. Save game, override, yes. Now we go back to Grandpa and teach him his second word of the week. Looking very good, Grandpa. Simple. Deep within Grandpa, strange remembrance phoned confidently. Good job, Grandpa. You're making huge strides. Vocalization module J15. General pronunciation comments. There is nothing. There appears to be nothing written here. Or if there was, it's thoroughly erased. You step away from the bars. Go to Grandpa. We have some conversations to have. The inner Grandpa, though still not fully formed, is revealed. You're getting there, Grandpa! Oh my goodness, you are actually getting creepy looking. Grandpa loudly clears its throat before gently responding in a lucid, well-projected voice. Oh, you're asking me about your wish? When you wished for me to come back, that's when I knew I would. Your desperation was strong. Your wish for your parents? Well, if you give me what I want, I'll give you what they want. Or what you want. You know I love you. I'm here for you, whatever you want, and I love you, just as much as you love me. But desperation and love is not enough. People deep down know they can't get what they wish for without some transformation. There is something that sits at the root of everyone's soul that understands the separation between them and eternity. You may desire something, but you know you will not get it without some movement on your part. So it is not enough to just wish, which you know will not work. You must wish and a little bit more, to transform your intention into something that might fructify, or for desire to become reality. Okay. Ask about your shell. Oh, you're asking me about my shell? Oh, well, you see, I like to have something to grow in. Something shaped like a person. It just helps to have something surrounding me when I don't have skin. My whiskers do the growing. My whiskers? Yes, you know, the hairy little thing. I am part of it, and it is part of me. However, my whiskers are what heard you wishing for me to come back. And so they went to work in the shell you provided. The shell also helps you envision me as what you desire. You have such a nice imagination. If I weren't in my shell, you'd have my whiskers exposed and knitting together in my face. Excuse me. You'd have my whiskers exposed and knitting together my face. That might interrupt the feedback loop of my reading your desires. And then acting upon the desires I have read, and then once again reading your reaction. We wouldn't want that interfered with. The material of the doll you put down is good fit. It's not the most comfortable, but it's quite flexible, and thankfully my shell was able to adjust nicely to my growth. Yes, I'm surprised that you fit in that doll anyway. Biohazard bin. Oh, you're asking me about the medical waste bin. I believe it's locked up. I heard them punch in the code many times as they practice part of burnt up dying self in the bin. They often forgot what the code was and had to go check on the wall where they were always taping up sheets upon sheets of information. So much so that the new papers would cover the old. What do you think you would find in there? Well, perhaps something. They did throw trash inside from time to time, bits of paper and so forth. I remember seeing a man who looked quite like me. His daughter had given him a photo of her new boyfriend. He threw it into the bin in disgust and joked with one of his colleagues. It may still be in there for all I know. Thank you, Grandpa, for the critical information. That's going to help us make our other doll. Well, you're asking me about language. Well, the more you taught me, the more I was able to learn myself by hearing what you were thinking and saying. A week ago, I could speak a little bit, but I was less of what you imagined me to be and not quite the talker I am at the moment. Part of what I am saying is, of course, made up of what you expect me to say. I think I'm very comfortable being open and honest with you because I am your grandpa, and I love you. And certainly that makes up part of what I am. However, there is a part of me deeper down. The thing that created me, maybe. that undying nucleus, is answering for me as well and is unaffected by whoever might shape what I become with their thoughts. So the nucleus does what it wants. The outside is what's influenced by people's thoughts. Little friends. Oh, you're asking about my little friends? Well, yes, they come for me. They grow around me in pockets of flesh and protoplasm. Think of them like dreams. Maybe. I'll explain. Have you ever had a dream that was sort of like a bunch of people, places, and events you experienced all mixed together and jumbled up? It's a sorting through and disposing of the refuse of the mind. My little friends are like that. Refuse, and in ridding myself of them, I am casting off the excess material I did not use in developing life form. Anyone who comes too close to me, well, they are my eyes, my nose, my skin. Their thoughts become mine and shape what I make. However, when I was alone for so long, I didn't have a lot of people near me. What you are thinking and expecting of me is shaping what I'm saying now. How I'm saying it. Do you understand? And so, because I did not have enough input from my surroundings in order to put the material to use, the material falls off my body, rolls away, and usually dies. I am able to make the most of my material when someone is looking right at me, projecting who I will be. Like you are now. What you're thinking and expecting of me is shaping what I'm saying. How I'm saying it. Do you understand? Your proboscis, Grandpa. Oh, you're asking me about my proboscis? It is just a little tube that I keep to help me feed on blood. You could say it's my real mouth, but it's not really a mouth. It appeared because you fed me flesh. One of those little friends you found, I think. You feeding me flesh was a symbol, a proposition, if you will, that you wanted to hold up your end of the bargain and with regards to your wish. If someone is willing to hold up their end of the bargain and let me feed on them with my proboscis, then they can move on to the next step of the agreement, providing me symbolic instructions. I hope that helps clear things up. Oh, you have another question? Do I like the blood? Well, my whiskers, I believe they're like the blood and the flesh. It's strange. They are me, and yet they are now me. I am bound to them. They control me. And technically, yes, they did make me. However, you are the one who really grew me. In some ways, those whiskers, they are me, or a part of myself, or I am a part of it. That part is much more animal-like. Whatever might happen, know that I will always love you, and because it controls me, I might not be able to act how I would like, even if I do love you. Oh, was that a threat? Was that a threat, Grandpa? Goodbye, Grandpa. Silently ascends back into its shell. Grandpa's doing very well. Examine the stomach contents. Oh, a flashlight. It's still functioning. Thank you, Grandpa, for throwing up a flashlight for me. Save game. Grandpa's proboscis is out. Yes, I understand his proboscis is out. You don't need to tell me. I know exactly what I'm doing. Bookshelf, yes. A paper. We got the doll. Discourse on the subordination of hidden beings. A classic of alchemy. On the virtue of the prudent when dealing with devils seen or unseen. The splendors and terrors of God's creations inhabit the world of both seen and unseen. And just as one will not grapple with a lion lest they be a fool, one will not approach a being of the mind or aether without foreknowledge thereof. There are beings with no form, hiding between towering columns of air and only appearing by slipping into the heart or mind of evil and unclean men. But still there are more beings which straddle the realm between the seen and unseen creatures, feeling through the air to see the heart or mind of men. It is only by God's grace and his angels and servants crushing these beings under heel that a magician might compel them to the magician's will. And so a magician must be perfectly clear and unerring in intent and ritual granted to us by God, or else these devils, seen or unseen, will devour them, that being their nature. On the nourishing of devils of a particular type, certain devils of a particular nature are nourished by the element of fire, others by attention and prayer given to their idols, still others by stranger and more obscure means. By God's grace, the requirement for nourishing a devil as part of a contract only requires a token of these giving. That is, a symbol. If a devil hungers after flesh and would strip a man to his bones in its devouring, the devil's hunger and nature which thirsts for flesh can be held in abeyance in the ritual act of giving blood in only a few drops. However, the contract must be completed in full, for if the magician errs and does not provide in the devil instruction and guidance, the devil, once abjured to do no harm upon the magician, will return to its devouring nature. So if we don't complete the deal and get him Dad's doll, then Grandpa's going to eat us. Good to know. Let's make sure I don't miss anything then. Wonderful. We got the doll, waste bin, and I still have the code written down here on this little itty-bitty piece of paper. 223 245. Yes? No? Let me try that again. 223 245. I'll be back. Don't worry, I'll be back. We need to examine our document. To the study corner. Look over documents. Easily written note. Nope, that's not it. Back. Acquisition note. Nope. Read. Nope, that's not part of it. Read. Propagation. No. Severe note. Nope, that's not it. I swear I wrote it down correctly. There it is. Okay, I guess I did write it down. So it was actually 323245. Now, we're all going to pretend that that didn't happen and that I got it first try. Save game. Don't end the week. Okay. Waste bin. 323 245. The lid unlocks, and with some effort, you move the heavy lid off the bin. It's a picture of my father as a young man. The recognition of this face kicks off a cascade of emotion and meaning deep within your psyche. Now we're going to glue my dad's head onto a paper doll, and we have our idol. Good. I guess there's nothing else in here for me to take. Time to go back to Grandpa with the good news. Go to Grandpa. Examine the proboscis. A minuscule needle extends from the tip of the proboscis. Grandpa has appreciated your blood offering. It will receive a symbol or totem from you now, although only one per offering. I step away from the barn. Go to Grandpa. Offer the father doll. Grandpa's spines quickly reach out and envelop the doll before drawing it back. The doll quickly vanishes within the folds of Grandpa's skin. Constructing and then offering your father's image to Grandpa, symbolically sated by blood, instills in you a concrete sense of completion. Grandpa gives a soft, affirming grunt as it senses deep within your mind the ritual transformation of your desire. Although Grandpa must receive both a mother and father totem before the fulfillment of your wish is assured. Knowledge you recently acquired has given you access to a new conversation topic to discuss with Grandpa. Completed contract. Let's talk. Oh, we are doing this exceptionally well. Hello, Grandpa. Let's talk about completed contract. Thank you so much for completing the contract. I'll definitely help you out with your parents. Just give me a little time and I'll be ready to act. I think you'll be very happy. Your grandpa is very happy too. You did it all by yourself, you know. I couldn't have helped you if I tried. I would have really not have liked to... Well, I did not want you to not complete the contract. I would have hated that. But do you understand why I would have had to? Maybe you don't. So much of your lives are made up, and yet what comes to pass was always once a fiction. You doubt yourself and your plans before they are even begun. And you believe what is in front of you as the essence of things was not something you put there long ago. Too much doubt can suffocate even the surest thing. Only with patience and growth and nurturing does something become what it will be. As you soon shall see. Goodbye, Grandpa. I'm glad we had that talk. Alright, we have done everything. So we're going to save the game and end the week. Week 5. We've gone beyond the 4 weeks, boys. I met with Adrienne one final time in order to see if I could not reach some sort of resolution regarding her emotional trouble. In these past few weeks, according to the reports of her teachers and peers, she has shown a remarkable transformation in conduct. I would also add my voice to this consensus. It seems as if in our time together, much has changed, for the better. I am not suggesting our meetings were the sole source of her sea change. I think something has happened in her home life that has reoriented Adrienne completely. She seems to suggest as much, at least in her usually esoteric way, when we last spoke. Something tells me something may have changed with Grandpa. Yes, well, something did change. I will write down her words verbatim here. I went down the stairs like I always did, but I sort of felt like something was different. My parents weren't arguing, and I felt something had changed with Grandpa too. There was a weird noise, but I wasn't afraid. Let's take a look-see. I think Grandpa had to leave. But before he left, he made my parents nice. He reached inside and changed them. That was my wish. maybe even what I was growing wasn't really my grandpa. Grandpa left what I was growing behind. He's gone now. He moved quickly out to don't know where. But I'll always love him. I dismissed Adrienne soon after, letting her know that it was a pleasure getting to know her. Despite my apprehensiveness about the speed of the turnaround she has made, I cannot see any reason why Adrienne should be considered for further evaluation. And as a counselor for Adrienne, let it be known that I believe she is of sound mental and emotional health. I am pleased to see things turn out this way, and if I may make a brief addendum, by happenstance, Miss Richardson bumped into the Hart family the other day while running an errand. She told me the parents were a little odd, but very pleasant, and quite clearly they adored their child, and that she had never seen Adrienne happier. There are two endings in growing my grandpa. If any of you watching out there are interested in this game and their developer games, feel free to go visit their Patreon. I would say that this was a very, very interesting game. If you enjoy reading, storytelling, and you're able to deal with a complicated and disturbing theme, and the puzzle actually didn't become obvious until the first use of the proboscis. Now, they made it somewhat easy to understand what was going on, but you did have to read a lot. Now, I understand that this is probably a small team here, but if there's another game that comes out after this, I'd recommend a little bit of voice acting. And I think these are all Patreon supporters. Photosensitivity. Well, that was growing my grandpa. I hope those of you who are still in the stream enjoyed the show. My voice is going, so I'm going to get going. I hope you all enjoyed the stream, and I'll see you all in the next one, dear viewers.